I promised you that I would give you the feedback just to help us kind of plan our year so it's what all of us want it to be. We have a few new things, a few old things that we're not going to do. And so Mike is passing out the compilation that I put together, and I have some pens also he may have grabbed, or they're up here. But if you'd like to write suggestions, and I put all the suggestions from everyone compiled beside the suggestion. So you're going to see what everyone answered. A few of them, obviously, like the pavilion project. Several people answered that. I put it once. So everyone that had answered in a different way, I put the answer all compiled by suggestion. So if you would like to do that project, please let me know. You can write any memos on this. I invited Chris and her guests also to give it some feedback. I think it's great, maybe if we want to collaborate just a little bit with the finance crew and get some input from them as well. So please feel free to make this interactive. We can discuss as we go through the list. Membership. One point that was consistent, people had mentioned we really need to focus on increasing our membership. And so I listed that with a suggestion. I'm suggesting that I put a promo flyer together, that the committee please make a point of getting together in the next month. And then we can decide our plan, whether it was suggested to put welcome baskets together and go basically door to door, whether it's cold call or actually make an appointment. But just to talk to some of our community members that we put on the list that we would like to maybe talk about and offer them the opportunity to join Rotary. The suggestion, and everyone had such great suggestions. I really appreciate you all doing such a great job and participating and giving such great feedback. The suggestions were though, the first 2 years, possibly a reduced membership, dual membership with the chamber, and then put together some baskets when we visit prospects. And so I think those are all doable, possibly, and then maybe the membership committee can decide what that's going to look like for us going forward. Any comments? Anything you want to share? Yes.
I'd be curious to hear from the Defiance Rotarians, and I'm particularly Kirsty, since I think she's their immediate past president, about...
I'm the immediate president. I am the president,
okay,
so I apologize.
sorry.
I probably should have told you all that in my introduction.
When your club has found what types of things are working, what types of things aren't working, and maybe ideas that you all have had. Because you're obviously larger, but similarly situated community compared to like bigger cities.
We're running into the exact same situation. Our membership is actually down over the last 2 years. Obviously you gain a few, you lose a few. So normally in the end of the year you balance out. We're down about 18 members from 2 years ago. Even with the new ones that have come on, we've had quite a few new faces, even just around this table. So that's been great. But over the last year, we've had a lot of retirees step down and not choose to stay on, even if they did reach honorary status. They decided just to resign without really being able to give us an answer. So I think one of the biggest things is finding out why people are dropping their membership. We're trying to get creative with the younger generation, how to bring that in. Even personally myself, with my work schedule, a noon meeting for me is very difficult, especially because we meet weekly, and so every Monday at noon, it's very difficult, especially on a Monday. By noon, I'm finally getting into my flow, and then I have to leave. So how do we combat that? So the fifth Monday, any month that has the fifth Monday, we're not having a normal noon meeting. It's going to be more of a happy hour meeting. So it's a 5 o'clock meeting. So that might be able to hit a different group, maybe the same group, but maybe a different group who can't get out at noon. So that's one thing we're going to try this year and to see how it goes. And we are meeting at a different location. So we, as of right now, are discussing meeting at our Elks Lodge so that there could be beverages available, some more appetizer snacks. We would still have a normal meeting. This is set up as a normal meeting, but it would be a little bit more casual maybe, and maybe open a door.
Yes, Chris?
Shannon, do you still do the social hour, like maybe in the summer? I remember I came to one at Two Bandits, I thought, a few years back.
It was probably with the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, all right. You don't do, Rotary doesn't do that.
Rotary does
Okay,
not. No.
all right.
And the Chamber still does. Anything else? And also, I'm going to interject at this point, thanks to Mike for getting our booklets printed. We appreciate that. So he didn't grab one. He has all of our booklets. Social media, Michael Wall is on the committee, myself and Susan, and the suggestion was to get more active on Facebook. That will probably be happening. We just need to get people added because someone that's no longer with us was in charge of our administration of the Facebook page, and I am a user on it, but I can't add anyone else because I don't have that authority. So we need to get that figured out. So we will. And then Susan, she's going to continue, her role is getting information to the newspaper. Anything else you want to add for social? Club history, Larry Culler had shared that he has information in storage if anyone would like it. He's moving or moved, so he's probably more than happy to get it out of his possession.
It's about 6 boxes, and I've never gone through it, but it goes back a ways.
Okay. Okay. Just so we all know that also. The family picnic will be June 28th. I like the suggestion. One of the suggestions was to have it more at the end of the president's term, and so it's an end and then the beginning for the new president. So I went with that, and it's going to be June 28th. What it looks like, though, is going to be up to the committee. We have 1 or 2 new committee members. There was a suggestion to have maybe not necessarily the traditional picnic like we had in the past, but to have a boxed lunch and maybe work around the pavilion. Another suggestion was to do a food truck, but we do have a new person or 2 on the family picnic, so it will be up to them, and I appreciate people volunteering to change that up and offering to be on the committee. Anyone want to add? Did you guys have a comment or no? Christmas program. A few people had suggested not to do a Christmas dinner program because it is such a hectic month, but I decided to add it into our schedule December 7th. If the committee decides it's too hectic, we're not going to do it, that's fine. But I really liked a few of the ideas that were suggested. So that's why I thought, let's keep it in our schedule, and if we want to get rid of it in a couple months, because there's low interest, that's not a problem. But the suggestions were either dinner at Two Bandits, and also a suggestion was to hold it at the Christmas cruise through at the multi-purpose building, and maybe do a Secret Santa, White Elephant, games, things like that. I thought that was a fun suggestion, and we could have a private party tour of the Christmas cruise through. So I appreciated that suggestion. I thought that was probably a pretty good idea. Halloween, a lot of people said, let's get rid of it, but the committee decided they would like to stay on the committee, and it's not a lot of work for most of us. It's really, we sponsor and hand out the food at the fire hall. So I went ahead and kept it on the agenda. One of the suggestions, though, was to bring back the parade. Most communities have a parade, Hicksville no longer, they got rid of the Christmas parade a few years ago, so we no longer have a parade. I think it's fun, especially people with kids. I think it's fun to have a community parade and the camaraderie, and it's something to look forward to every year for kids. So if that's something that we want to think about, I'm open to that. And if someone wants to volunteer to do some of the work. So I added that on to the list. Anyone want to make any suggestions for that?
So would that be the same, the parade would be the same, if you had one the same date as whenever they do it? I don't remember what they do at the fire station.
Right. What they do at the fire station, they have games and food, and it's later in the evening or throughout the trick-or-treat hours possibly. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the parade was before trick-or-treat hours started for the village, and it would be through town. They used to have a huge event out at the elementary school for Halloween, and then I believe the parade was part of that, and at the football field and things, but that was several years ago.
Once a lot of the churches started doing trunk or treat, the parade would tend to start going down because we would have to start the parade like at 3 o'clock because Halloween is usually from like 4 to 6 in town. There's less and less kids even doing door to door trick or treating. Everybody's going to trunk or treat and then going to the fire hall. So they said it's too long for the kids to be in costume from like 3 until 8 o'clock, and the parents don't want to, you know, they're already rushing around town. So we kind of stopped the parade and what we had done. I mean, we had a big turnout 30 years ago, you know, at the football field. But everything's changed to go to one place, get a bunch of candy, go to another place, get a bunch of candy, and then hit the party at the fire hall, right? And food. They serve a lot of people, adults, and the kids. You know, if you wanted to maybe do a smaller parade just through the downtown area where it's more contained, because I know church-wise, I know First Church of Christ, Trunk or Treat, St. John Lutheran, I think does one. I'm not sure about Grace. They have one. Yeah, there's quite a few around here that do it. I think it was just too much for the families and the kids to spread it out that long, kind of thing. So.
Just a suggestion, I wanted to add it to the list, and this is something that we can use as a worksheet going forward as well in the next year, 2 years even. The pancake supper, I put the numbers down. We had 3 people voted yes to continue and 14 against it. We are not going to do the pancake supper this year. I know that's probably not a popular decision with the few people that wanted to keep it, but with the numbers, if you see the numbers, it wasn't real profitable. We could make more just if everyone would donate 20 bucks, quite honestly, 25 bucks. And with our numbers, we're having to get other groups to help us. We just don't really have enough to continue that. So it was a decision, just evaluating everything and popular vote, I decided that we will not be doing the pancake supper this year. I would like to hopefully add something. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but we'll get to that in a few minutes when we get to the suggestions on possibly where to go for fundraisers and things like that. Okay, Citizen of the Year will be May 10th. And depending on the person that we recognize, we'll determine if it's a lunch meeting or an evening meeting for dinner. Red Cross blood drive up, pretty self-explanatory. I do appreciate those on that committee. I know Bob always helps, Mike always helps, Alan helps when he can, and maybe a few other, Larry Color is always there. Several of you have been doing this as long as I can remember and have been a member, so thank you for that and for continuing. Employer is October 26th, and we'll have, the tradition is to have a speaker from either a trade school or college. The vocational day is April 5th with a speaker from Core County. Senior Recognition Day will be May 17th. And then Farm Day will be March 8th. before they kind of gear up. And it will be an agricultural speaker. And I hope that maybe we can focus on inviting more of the farm community and making sure that they get a personal invitation, and that us as Rotarians will invite a few and sponsor them for that luncheon. Not necessarily a huge trade show and guest speaker from Columbus and things like it used to be, but at least maybe have a room full and just really honor the people that do that work for us. Just sharing a few of the answers that we got. Okay, what community projects would you like Rotary to sponsor and support for 21-22? The sidewalk project was something that was kind of near and dear to me. I started several years ago, 8 years ago when I was president, and I'm hoping to continue that. So that is one that I am going to continue. And then overwhelmingly, people answered to partner with the village to update and maintain the pavilion. It is the Rotary Park Pavilion. I think it's important that it represents our name well, and that we maintain it and have it looking nice. So I am adding that to the list of a partnership. And hopefully, with the village, we can make sure that that gets spruced up. And if they have any projects that need funding, that will definitely partner with them and make sure that they get sponsored. Anyone want to add to that?
Did we get signs? We had signs, Rotary Youth signs.
We haven't got them yet, or we had talked about that. I gotta get with the Boy Scouts, we're getting them made right now. We're doing a circular, 18-inch diameter. We're dealing with maybe a reflective, so when you're at 90, you're brighten up. But we get with the Scouts, but they're putting another one out on 18.
Is there one on that? Seems like I saw one on that.
They're trying to build some newer metal signs. They've done 2 so far, and then we have the older wooden ones with the welcome to Hicksville. So we're trying to add some more, but they had found some older, I think, Rotary signs. They had taken them down, but from a distance they look okay, but up close they're cracked and beat up and everything. So we're making some new decals and put them on this.
You'll notice last on the list was updating all the Rotary wheel signs that are on the Welcome to Hicksville entrances as you enter Hicksville from all directions. So Mike is working on that, having those printed, and then we'll have those installed. So thank you for working on that. And thanks, Greg, for kind of noticing that and bringing it to our attention that we were missing a few of those. And then also the Christmas cruise through was written down a few times as we would like to help support that. And we can kind of decide what that looks like and what Denise and her needs are going to be for the Christmas cruise through.
I got a question, Shannon.
Yes.
I didn't think about it evidently when you passed this out, but we used to do a sponsor with the high school, the 4-way test. I think the district still has that contest, right?
They do.
And it was a speech. Well, Hicksville did away with speech, so then we went with an essay. And it was like a 6th grade or 5th grade. So I don't know if that's something we can get started back in with the school or not. But I always thought that was a good thing.
Okay.
You just need a teacher that wants to take it on.
I don't think we've done that all the years.
It's been a long time.
Right. I like that thought though, and I'll do a little bit of checking also. And
There used to be a contest at the school for that.
there was.
All around. And none of
If the fines do that, you have supposed to.
Yes.
Can I just, that made me think about something. When my kids were in school, they had the local Rotary Club had, students, they pick a student to come, happened that, I don't remember, the principal or somebody at the school, at the high school was a Rotary member, so he'd bring somebody with him every week. And then when I was at the one in Huntington, they had college there. Of course, they would see that there were a couple of college students at the meetings. So I don't know if that's something that we could figure out how to bring the high school, maybe a high school junior or senior, periodically or once a month or something. Somebody has, maybe somebody, you know,
Yes.
students in leadership roles, those are, if schools still have them, various clubs, you know, maybe that, the presidents of those clubs could come and hang out for lunch once a month, or take turns.
Yeah, I like that, Greg. I believe we used to do that here at our Hicksville Club several years back, and I'm not sure why it ended.
COVID problem.
I think we ended just a few minutes before that, but.
Are we doing anything with exchange, Shannon? I'm sorry, I'm jumping in here on you.
No, I'm glad you are.
I just wondered.
Susan's probably, or Keith is the better person to ask. They're the better people.
There's no program, there wasn't a program last year, there's no program this year.
Okay.
So once it starts up again, hopefully we can get involved.
So the district doesn't even
No,
know?
no.
Okay.
That probably is.
That's reason, yeah. That's a good reason.
Project partners for community service. I loved the suggestion, and I'll personally head this up, especially as my grandparents are aging and just recently put into long-term care. To visit Hickory Creek residents, I put even months, and so if you would like to be on the committee I would like to do maybe a little care package for the residents, whether it's personal care items, you know, candy if they can have it, we can find out what they want. And maybe if Keith wants to get involved, I think he does, maybe do music. But I think it will be a great thing for our club to do as far as getting involved in the community and community projects. And so I'll head that up. We'll start in August and figure out maybe if you would like to be on the committee, let me know, and we can figure out if we're gonna visit a few of the residents. I can get names from the administrator, or if we're just gonna go out there and say hey to, you know, lots of people. I'm not quite sure what it's gonna look like, but I thought it was a fantastic suggestion, and just that population of people that we don't want to forget about. So.
And when you talk to them, find out who the director is. They want to do that.
Yes. Great.
Remember a day.
A couple other suggestions was to do a cleanup of Hicksville land office building, and then also to possibly do a shot clinic if that's a possibility. I'm not sure if the Defiance County Health Department wants to entertain that. Again, we used to do shot clinics with them. They haven't done those in Hicksville for years, but if we would like to start those back up, I'm also willing to kind of head that up and do some checking. And then it was also suggested to do a trash litter cleanup day. So those are usually in the spring, and once I get information, I'll be happy to bring that to one of our meetings. Any other additions? Yes,
We
Susan.
could adopt part of the highway. and then we'd have a sign put up, and I
Oh.
know there are areas in Hicksville that need that.
Okay.
We'd have to keep you off that.
I know, thank you, Larry, for reminding me.
I know when one gets hurt doing that.
That sounds like a story that I'm
I don't
missing.
know. One would rather forget.
Anything else? Okay, do we need to add or change our meeting time? The overwhelming response was to keep the meeting time where it is. But I also had a sprinkling of a few people saying morning meetings, a few people suggesting evening meetings, and one suggestion was to possibly meet in the evening, like a 5 o'clock meeting, and really just meet for drinks and planning. But that would be in lieu of our Tuesday lunch meeting. So it's just something that we can think about. The suggestions are listed. If you have a strong feeling one way or another, please let me know. I would like to try maybe, once a quarter even to offer an evening meeting or a morning meeting. And maybe we can try the first quarter doing a morning, the second quarter doing an evening, and so on. So I'm not an extra early morning person, but I will do that for the club. A few fundraising suggestions. Basically, let's partner with someone else if we want to do a larger event, which I like that idea. I was very active in the chamber as president for a long time. So I have that relationship with them still, and I'm more than happy to talk with the chamber and see if that's something they would like to do with us. Dueling pianos was suggested. That's always fun. I think that's a great idea. Bingo was suggested. Maybe doing a brats before a game, brats, hamburger type thing. That was mentioned possibly in lieu of the pancake supper, and whether it's a fundraiser or if it's something that we just do as a community awareness of Rotary, a goodwill type thing. We could do it maybe before a football game or a basketball game and something like that. So that was just a suggestion thrown out. Bingo, and then a euchre tournament. And then lastly, I saved it for last because I wasn't sure what it was, but Brian had suggested Ohio Pick 3. Do you want to let us know what that is?
Sure, yeah, it's something we've done before with different sporting events. So basically, you sell tickets, the three numbers on 3, 2, 7, 4, 2, 1. You sell all of the combinations that you can for whatever price you need, $25, $50, whatever it is. And for a whole month, you just walk to Ohio Pick 3. So June 1, whatever numbers pick, that person who has that ticket gets whatever you need prize. So that's something that we've done to raise money for new uniforms, raise a few $1,000s that you're able to, if you happen to have the efforts to sell tickets, that's the only
Right.
downside, which is about everything. But it's pretty simple. I mean, you really, all you gotta do is just enter people in a spreadsheet, have them keep track, and how quick free is how you win every single day. That's all you have to do.
Okay.
So, whatever, because every evening there's a drawing. So if you have that number, you win. I think my daughter was on $50 a few weeks ago. We put her name on the ticket, she won one. So
Okay.
it's pretty simple. There's not a lot of work involved except the upfront stuff. Tickets.
Okay.
Print it. It's pretty simple.
How much you sell the tickets for?
I don't remember what we did. I don't know. I think $25 a ticket or something. I'd have to look at it.
And that would be good for a month then?
Yeah. So we did. So we do it for a whole month. So we did June 1, and we did the whole month of June. So I think there's 1,000 combinations of numbers. I think is what it comes out to. So you sell them, and then whatever you can decide how you want to sell them and how what your prize is for the winner for each day. So there's a daily winner
A daily one?
every day, every weekday. Yep.
We'd have to sell it.
It's still 1,000. Yeah.
1,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
And we sold ours in groups of 5 or 3 or however mostly. Last time, just get a bunch of tickets. And you can win multiple times. The same number could be drawn.
Mike had also suggested something similar to that, where, do you wanna talk about it?
School
I know we need to
did-
wind down.
We did Ohio State, Michigan, where they sold, whoever they played for that week, the last digit of each score.
It's like Super Bowl squares.
Squares.
for the Lions and Michigan.
Right. And they just took the last digit of Ohio State's game and Michigan's game. And if you had ticket, 21, Ohio had 22, Michigan had 21, you won that week. So you could even, I don't know if it's, even you're a high school level where, Hicksville plays out here, different things. High school, they're not getting paid yet, I thought that was, players getting paid in high school. Just kind of,
So,
it's something different for them.
yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much for all your input. Like I said, I really appreciate it. Does anyone have anything before we close?